stocks our strategists feel are poised to deliver positive returns are featured now in their top stock picks of the week.
We are going to round out the month of November with two stocks handpicked by our strategists who join me here, Kevin Cook right beside me, and via Skype remotely, Brian Boland. So Kevin, we're going to start with you. You've got a company here called Illumina Inc. It's a biotech company that you refer to as the NASA of biotech and genetics because they make the starships for exploring the genome.
Exactly. I give it this name because it's such an exciting company. And you called it a biotech, and generally it's going to get lumped in there, but it doesn't make any drugs. It's not doing any pipeline research and hanging on FDA approvals. As I indicated, they make the starships that help explore the genome. Yeah. And if you look at my screen here, I can give you, you can see an image, a picture of the NovaSeq, which is the Seq, S-E-Q, stands for sequencing. And this is about a $1 million machine that can sequence a human genome. And so who's buying this? Well, obviously any university or research lab or biotech company that wants to, sequence a genome has to have one of these machines. They're the number one player in this space, but they're also benefiting from the consumer trend to, find out your heredity, right? So Ancestry.com, 23andMe, people go online and they want to find out, hey, where did I come from? Who am I like? That kind of thing.
But this is not something that you would buy.
No.
To use you don't have the barn on the ranch or anything.
No, right. So yeah, nobody's going to buy the $1 million machine. That's for the institution. That's for the university, the research lab, the biotech company.
Okay.
But what Illumina has done is they've created a vertical here where they help make the kits that go to the consumer. So somebody goes online, says, okay, I want to sequence my genome, find out where I came from, and they get the kit, which is maybe $100 now. I think that, look at the cost here. So 10 years ago, it would cost you probably $10 million to sequence your own genome. And now it's down to $1,000, and you get this kit, and the kit plugs in, obviously, to Illumina's technology. So they keep reducing the cost, and you would think, okay, if that's how elastic, the cost is there, aren't they going to run themselves out of business? No, actually, because they're expanding the research field and making so much more possible, it's just opening up all kinds of new business for them. They were able to make a key acquisition about a month ago, Pacific Biosciences, that's going to sort of complete their vertical there. Let's take a look at the estimates. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this stock is expensive, and during a correction, who wants to pay, 50 to 100 times for a stock anymore? Stocks come down. It's trading a little over 50 times, but it's holding this level here above, say, $310, and this is where I've been saying to buy it. So looking at sales estimates, they're going to do $3.3 billion this year. That's going to grow to $3.8 billion. That's 14% growth next year, after 21% growth this year. EPS, you can see they're putting up, they're going to do over $6 pretty soon. That's only 11% growth in the next year, and that's where you get the 50 times multiple. But what I want to show you here is I did a special report on this for Zacks Ultimate, and you can get a copy of it by emailing ultimate@zacks.com.
Okay.
Talk to the sales guys. You can get a copy of this report. I can't pull it up right now, but just I took a deep dive on it, and I said we just had a really nice pullback here. This stock was going to go to 400. Comes down to 300, and I told people who follow me, I said, we want to buy this between 300 and 320. And I actually bought it for my healthcare innovators portfolio because it's a long-term play. It's very unique in this space. Again, it's making exploration of the genome possible. So that's why I consider this sort of a core holding if you're building sort of a long-term healthcare biotech portfolio, and you're not exposed to any one drug or pipeline, because all you're doing is building, the picks and shovels, so to speak,
Sure.
for the biotech companies.
All right, I'm still trying to get my head around what is a genome, but that's a different story. Brian, you have a company, software by subscription company, and I'm going to let you pronounce it.
Zora? I don't know. What do you feel? What do you think, Terry? Do you think it's Zora?
I was going to say Zora, but
Zora, I like that too. You know, I was never any good at phonics, so I'm not going to try to tell you what's right or what's wrong when saying what it is. But ZUO is the ticker, Zora. It is a Zacks rank number 3, and it's a hold. Not the full growth and value divergence that I normally like to see in my aggressive growth videos, but this is a top stock pick of the week. And the reason why I chose it for this week is that it's going to have earnings on Thursday after the close. So we're looking for that. And Thursday is really going to be a big day for tech. We feel like earnings season is probably close to over, but there's a lot of tech names here coming up. And here's the Zacks calendar. You know, VMware is here, HPQ is here, Workday is a great kind of canary in the coal mine for big cap tech names. Because if that name is bad, the whole group kind of goes bad. That's been one that I've been watching of late. Palo Alto Networks is also in here. Splunk. I mean, the list keeps going on. There's about 12 really good tech earnings coming out Thursday after the close. So look for that. And Zora is one of them. So if we jump ahead to the estimates here, we can see there's been no activity at all over the last 60 days there. Estimates have held steady for, there's a bump of a penny, a little bit the wrong way here, another wrong way penny move, or actually better penny move. That's up. That's a smaller loss, and smaller loss here, even though they weren't reflected in the estimates. But at the end of the idea here, this is one of these newer tech companies, right? So we don't have a ton of information on this, but what we do have is a chart that shows us that this thing was possibly hyped up a little bit into that IPO and that first earnings report, which would be right here, and the stock jumps up to 34. But ever since then, it's just been coming back the other way, and that leads to the obvious question: is why buy it now? Is it going to go well below? It's obviously below now where the IPO level was, basically. That makes it interesting, at least. But to me, it becomes a valuation story here. And, so the first thing that we do when we look at valuations pretty much of all stocks, we're going to take a look at the PE. But since it's a tech company and it's early, there are no earnings. Then I'm going to look at price to book. And I can see 12 times is pretty rich, but, there's going to be that idea of growth in there. Price to sales doesn't come up through here on our Zacks system, but I did a back of the envelope calculation. I got 9.8 times, which is pretty rich, but the industry, and especially for these recent IPOs, 10 to 12 times price to sales multiple is pretty respectable. But here's the key thing, and I think that this is what we really want to be looking at here. The sales growth is there. As of the last quarter, 46%. This quarter coming up, we're going to be looking at a 55% number. That's a pretty big growth number. And when you have a big growth story like that, that's what we want to see, especially now that the range has come back in, the stock is pulled in. Multiples have been more or less cut in half, or possibly even more, because the financials have been improving. There is sales growth, right? So that is the reason why I like this stock. Obviously, I don't know if I want to be in for the earnings, but it's one that I definitely am going to key on for this earnings report.
Okay, so you don't own it now?
I do not own this one, no.
What about Kevin's stock? Do you own that one?
I don't own Kevin's stock or basically any of the other ones. I'm all Tesla all day.
All right. Kevin, what about you? Do you own either of these?
Just for the Healthcare Innovators portfolio,
right.
Own Illumina.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you both for that information. Don't forget there's always more stock information on our website, and that's Zacks.com. All you need to do is get over to the homepage to check it all out. With Kevin and Brian, I'm Terry Ruffalo.